I slept alone that night, but morning found an alien woman beside me. Eli had always been drawn to the stars. As a human explorer, he had traveled to countless planets, cataloging alien flora and studying strange energy patterns. Yet none had prepared him for Vera 9. The desert planet stretched endlessly, red sands shifting like liquid fire beneath its twin suns. The air was thin and dry, carrying the faint metallic scent of the minerals beneath the surface. On this planet, even the wind seemed to hum with a strange energy. Eli's small habitat was a cluster of durable metal panels welded together, barely enough for one person. It had a basic life support system, a workbench, and a sleeping area that he liked to keep tidy. He had spent weeks alone, navigating the dunes and mapping the energy anomalies that had drawn him here. The solitude was both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, there were no distractions, no orders from mission control, no obligations. On the other hand, the silence sometimes felt heavy, pressing against his mind like the weight of the twin suns in the sky. That evening, Eli returned to his habitat after a long trek. His feet were coated in the red dust, and his clothes clung to his skin from the heat. He placed his pack down, removed his boots, and ran a hand through his sweat-damp hair. His routine was simple: check his equipment, review his maps, eat a small meal, and then rest. Tonight, however, there was a subtle change in the air. The room felt warmer and the light seemed to shimmer slightly. He shook his head, blaming the heat for his imagination. Eli was used to strange sensations. Vera 9 had a way of playing tricks on the mind, and many explorers before him had returned to their ships claiming hallucinations. He set his pack aside and prepared his dinner, a rehydrated protein meal, nothing fancy, but enough to keep him going. As he ate, he reviewed the day's findings. The energy readings had spiked near a canyon he had not yet fully explored, and the patterns were unlike anything he had recorded before. After finishing his meal, Eli cleaned his workspace and checked his comm system. Static was all that answered. No signal reached beyond the planet's atmosphere, which was to be expected. He sighed and leaned back, rubbing his eyes. This was a planet that required patience. Even a small mistake could be fatal: quicksand-like dunes, sudden sandstorms, or one of the native predators. Eli had learned the hard way that caution was survival. He prepared for sleep, lying on the thin mattress that was barely more than padding on the floor. His eyes closed, his body relaxed, but his mind was still alert. He had grown accustomed to the silence of Vera 9, yet tonight it seemed unusually deep, almost as if the desert itself was holding its breath. Hours passed. The room was dark except for the faint glow of the life support indicators. Then, without warning, a shimmer appeared in the air near his sleeping area. Eli's eyes snapped open. The shimmer twisted and turned like liquid crystal caught in a beam of light. He sat up slowly, heart pounding. "What?" he whispered to himself. The shimmer began to take shape. Slowly, a figure emerged, a woman unlike any Eli had ever seen. Her form was slender and graceful, and her skin seemed to ripple with faint, shifting colors, almost like the sands outside his habitat. Her eyes were large and golden, glowing softly in the dim light, reflecting curiosity, fear, and intelligence all at once. She did not speak, but her presence was undeniable. Eli's mind raced. He reached for his emergency scanner, a small handheld device capable of detecting biological life forms and energy readings. The scanner confirmed what he already suspected. She was alive, definitely sentient, and her energy signature was unlike anything in his database. Eli swallowed hard, trying to calm his racing heart. You're real," he said softly, as if speaking aloud could make the situation less strange. The alien woman tilted her head, her golden eyes studying him with intensity. She stepped closer, her movement fluid and silent. Eli instinctively took a step back, his hand still clutching the scanner. The woman paused as if sensing his fear and raised her hand in a gesture of peace. Her skin shimmered brighter, pulsing gently like the surface of a calm pool. Eli lowered the scanner slowly. I won't hurt you," he said, his voice steadying. "I'm just surprised." The woman did not respond with words. Instead, she moved closer, stopping just a few feet away. Then, in a motion almost too quick to follow, she sat down on the floor. Her eyes never left his, and Eli felt an unusual calm wash over him, despite the strangeness of the encounter. He realized she wasn't hostile. She was simply here. Minutes passed in silence. Eli's mind was a whirlwind of questions, but his body betrayed him. Exhaustion from the long day finally took over. He lay back down, careful to keep an eye on the woman. She didn't move, only watched him. Eventually, sleep claimed him. Morning arrived with the twin suns rising, casting long, orange beams across the room. Eli opened his eyes slowly and froze. The alien woman was still there, sitting quietly beside him. She hadn't moved an inch during the night. Her golden eyes reflected the sunlight, and for a moment, Eli felt as if she could see every thought he had ever had. Then the impossible happened. A voice spoke not aloud but directly into his mind. "Do not fear me, human. I mean no harm. I am Nara." Eli sat up, stunned. Telepathy. It was real, and she was using it. His mind struggled to comprehend, but the words were clear, calm, and entirely without threat. I'm Eli," he replied, speaking aloud even though she could hear his thoughts. "I didn't expect this. I didn't expect to meet anyone here." Nara tilted her head slightly, a gesture that seemed almost human. "I am stranded. My ship crashed. I am alone until I found you." Eli's heart sank a little. He had faced many dangers on Vera 9, but now he realized she was more vulnerable than he was, even with her abilities. She needed help just as he did, though in different ways. "You crashed here. Are you hurt?" he asked, scanning her body with his eyes. There were no visible injuries, but he could sense an undercurrent of fatigue in her energy signature. Nara nodded slightly. "I am not severely wounded, but I am lost. I cannot leave without guidance. I cannot call for my crew, they are far, and they do not know I am here." Eli felt a mixture of relief and responsibility. He had been alone for so long, and now another being shared this isolation with him. Yet he realized this was an opportunity. An alien life form, intelligent and extraordinary, needed him, and perhaps he could learn from her too. "Then stay," he said slowly, considering the weight of his words. "Stay until we figure out what to do. You're safe here." Nara's eyes brightened slightly, her golden hue pulsing with emotion Eli could barely identify. She did not speak aloud, but he felt her gratitude ripple through his mind. "Thank you, Eli. I trust you." Eli nodded, unsure how to respond to telepathic words, but he felt a warmth in his chest. They shared a meal together, though it was simple. He offered her water and protein rations, and she consumed them with a curious grace. As they ate, Eli learned more about Nara's world. Her people, the Illyrians, were highly intelligent and possessed abilities that humans could only dream of. They could sense energy, manipulate minor physical forces, and communicate through thought. Yet, for all their powers, she was alone, stranded in a hostile environment. Hours passed. Eli showed her the maps he had drawn of Vera 9, explaining the dangerous areas, the quicksand-like dunes, and the sandstorms that could appear without warning. Nara absorbed everything quickly, asking questions through thought. "This place is harsh." "Your survival is impressive," she said. Eli smiled, appreciating the compliment. Survival had been a mix of skill, luck, and stubbornness. By the time the suns had reached their highest point, a strange familiarity had settled between them. They were two beings, completely different in origin, yet connected by circumstance. Eli found comfort in her presence, and she seemed equally soothed by his calm assurance. As night approached, the desert turned a deeper red, shadows stretching across the sand. Eli prepared for another night, but this time the fear of isolation was gone. Nara sat beside him, a silent sentinel, a companion in the vast emptiness of Vera 9. He realized something important. Survival wasn't just about physical endurance. Sometimes it was about trust, connection, and the willingness to care for someone else. When Eli finally lay down, he did so with a sense of calm he hadn't felt in months. Nara did not leave him. She remained seated, watching, listening, a presence that somehow made the alien world feel a little less lonely. And for the first time in a long while, Eli felt that he was not entirely alone. That night he fell asleep knowing that the morning would bring not just sunlight, but a companion, an ally, and perhaps the beginning of an extraordinary friendship between human and alien, a bond forged by chance, trust, and the strange, shimmering desert of Vera 9 morning. Arrived with the twin suns casting long, orange beams across the red sands. Eli awoke to a faint warmth on his arm. Blinking in confusion, he realized Nara was still beside him. She had not moved all night, her golden eyes following him as he stirred. Her presence was calm, almost soothing, and Eli felt a strange sense of comfort in knowing he was not alone. "Good morning," he said aloud, rubbing his face. The words felt almost silly, considering she could hear his thoughts directly. She did not respond verbally, but he felt her reply form in his mind. "Good morning, Eli. You sleep well." He smiled at the clarity of her voice inside his mind. Telepathy was something he had read about in ancient texts of alien cultures, but experiencing it firsthand was both startling and fascinating. "I did, I think. And you?" he thought. "I rested. Your presence is reassuring." Eli shook his head in disbelief and amusement. Here he was, on a distant desert planet, having breakfast with a glowing alien woman who could speak directly into his mind. Yet somehow, it felt normal, or as normal as anything could feel on Vera 9. He rose, stretching, and offered her some of his rehydrated meal. She accepted gracefully, and he watched as she consumed it with a delicate focus, as if she was both curious and cautious of human food. "You don't have to be careful," he said softly. "It's just food." "It is strange to me," she replied. "We Illyrians rarely eat as humans do. Our energy comes from other means, but I am willing to try what sustains you." They ate together in silence for a while, the faint hum of the life support system the only sound. Outside, the desert was alive with shifting sands, and occasional gusts of wind carried tiny red particles into the habitat. Eli had learned to watch the skies, to understand the subtle signs of storms or unstable ground. Nara seemed equally attentive, her eyes flicking to the walls and the small window, noticing things he might have missed. After finishing their meal, Eli decided to show her the maps he had drawn. "I've been studying the energy anomalies on this planet," he explained. "Some areas are dangerous, quicksand dunes, sudden storms, and native predators. But some areas show patterns that might help explain the planet's strange energy field." Nara leaned closer, her head tilting in fascination. "This is impressive. Your understanding of this world is advanced. You humans survive in ways we rarely expect." Eli smiled, a little embarrassed. "I survive because I have to, and because I pay attention. Vera 9 doesn't forgive mistakes." "It seems we are not so different then," she said. "I too must navigate carefully, but alone it is exhausting. I have been stranded for too long." Her words struck Eli. Despite her extraordinary abilities, her telepathy, her heightened perception, and her alien form, she was still vulnerable. Alone, she was at risk just as he had been before she arrived. "Then we watch out for each other," he said. "I help you, you help me. That's how we survive." Nara's eyes glimmered gold, and he felt her thoughts brush against his own. "Yes, trust is rare among my kind. And now I find it with a human." The day passed slowly. Eli led Nara outside, showing her the area around his habitat. He pointed out safe paths, unstable sands and places where the ground might collapse unexpectedly. Nara followed closely, her movements precise and careful, yet graceful, as if she was learning not just to survive but to move in harmony with the planet. As they walked, Eli noticed something curious. Nara seemed attuned to the energy anomalies he had been tracking. She would pause in certain areas, her eyes narrowing, her golden glow intensifying slightly. When he scanned these spots with his equipment, the reading spiked dramatically. She could sense things his instruments could detect, but her instincts were faster, more sensitive. "You feel it too," she said, reading his reaction before he spoke. "Yeah," Eli replied, "but you sense more than I do. It's like the energy talks to you." "We Illyrians are connected to the energies of worlds," she explained. "It is part of our being. But I have not been here long enough to fully understand Vera 9. You help me." They spent hours exploring the dunes, mapping the patterns and noting the anomalies. Eli felt a growing respect for her abilities. Nara was not just beautiful or intelligent. She was capable, adaptable, and courageous. Yet, despite her strength, she remained vulnerable in ways that only a human could understand. As the twin suns began their descent, casting long shadows across the red sands, Eli suggested they return to the habitat. "You need rest," he said, "and tomorrow we continue our mapping." Nara nodded, her golden eyes reflecting the fading light. "Yes. And I wish to understand more about humans, about you." Back at the habitat, Eli prepared another simple meal. Nara observed closely, asking questions about his tools, his maps, and even the way he thought. He realized that despite her intelligence, she had a childlike curiosity about human habits. "Your species is resilient," she said. "You survive in ways I do not always understand." "Resilience comes from necessity," Eli replied. "Humans adapt because we must. And because we care about each other, that's what keeps us alive in difficult situations." Nara's gaze softened. "I see. Perhaps that is something we Illyrians forget. Our abilities separate us, make us different, but human strength is not just physical, it is in the heart." Eli felt a warmth he hadn't expected. The alien woman beside him, who could have been a threat, was instead teaching him about her world while reminding him of the value of human qualities: courage, empathy, and resilience. Suddenly, a subtle vibration passed through the ground. Eli's hand went to his scanner. A faint, irregular energy signature approached, distant but unmistakable. He froze. "Nara, something's coming," he said, his voice low but urgent. Her golden eyes widened slightly, and Eli felt her thoughts brush against his. "I sense it, my crew." "Or others." "I don't know," Eli admitted. "But it's fast, we need to be careful." They moved to a high ridge, scanning the horizon. Small shapes flickered in the distance, shapes moving with unnatural speed, scanning the desert as they approached. Nara's glow pulsed with intensity. "They are searching for me. I did not think they would find me so quickly." Eli's mind raced. "We need a plan. You stay close. We move carefully. I know this terrain better than anyone else." Together, they navigated the ridges and canyons, staying just out of reach of the approaching energy scanners. Eli realized that Nara's presence amplified his own instincts. With her help, he could anticipate dangers faster than ever before. "You trust me," she said, her voice gentle but firm in his mind. "I do," Eli replied, "and I hope you trust me too." "I do," she responded, "more than I expected to trust any being outside my kind." Night fell and the desert turned a darker shade of red, almost purple under the twin moons. Eli found a sheltered canyon where they could rest, hidden from view. They settled side by side, both exhausted from the day's exertions. Eli spoke quietly, almost to himself. "You know, I thought I would spend this mission alone. I thought loneliness was part of survival, but with you it feels different, better." Nara tilted her head, her golden eyes soft. "I feel the same. Alone, we are vulnerable. Together, we are stronger, and perhaps happier." Eli smiled, unsure if she could hear it through thought, but the warmth in her presence was unmistakable. They shared stories that night. Eli about his travels across galaxies, Nara about her home world, Illyria, and the civilization she came from. She spoke of towering crystalline cities, of ships that could travel faster than light, and of a society that prized knowledge above all. Yet she admitted that even among her own kind, loneliness could be profound. "We are connected but isolated," she said. "Abilities can be a gift but also a barrier. Humans, you form bonds that are simple yet strong. I admire that." Eli nodded, feeling a sense of humility. They shared a quiet moment, gazing at the stars visible through the canyon opening. The twin suns had set, and the moons rose, casting silvery light on the dunes. He realized that despite the danger, despite the uncertainty, this moment, this connection, was something rare, something valuable. As he drifted to sleep, Eli felt Nara shift slightly beside him. Her presence was steady, reassuring, and entirely alive. For the first time in months, he did not feel alone. And for the first time, he wondered if survival on Vera 9 was not just about enduring the harsh environment, but about finding connection in unexpected places. That night, the desert was quiet, but not empty. It held two beings, human and alien, learning to trust each other, relying on each other, and discovering that even on a remote, hostile world, companionship could be found. And as the twin moons traced their slow path across the sky, Eli knew that this was only the beginning. The following morning, Eli woke to the low hum of his habitat's life support system. Sunlight from Vera 9 twin suns spilled across the red sands, bathing the small metal shelter in an orange-gold glow. Nara was already awake, sitting near the doorway, her golden eyes fixed on the horizon. She looked almost regal in the morning light, her shifting skin reflecting subtle hues of red and gold that echoed the desert outside. Eli rose, stretching and yawning. "Morning," he said, his voice rough from sleep. Nara's response came directly into his mind, calm and clear. "Morning, Eli. The world looks alive today," he smiled. It did. The desert seemed less hostile this morning, almost welcoming, though he knew better. Vera 9 could change in an instant. Storms could rise from nowhere and the sands could swallow an unwary traveler. Eli dressed quickly, grabbing his scanner and pack. "Ready to explore?" he asked. "Yes," Nara replied. "I wish to understand more of this place, and perhaps you as well." Their exploration began with a careful trek across the dunes. Eli led the way, pointing out subtle shifts in the sand, slight energy anomalies, and hidden crevices that could collapse under weight. Nara moved beside him gracefully, her eyes scanning the terrain, her body attuned to even the faintest vibrations in the ground. He noticed how quickly she learned his methods of observation, adapting her alien instincts to the peculiarities of this world. "Watch the sand there," Eli warned as they approached a slightly depressed area. "It looks stable, but it could be quicksand beneath." Nara paused, golden eyes narrowing. "I sense instability. Your caution is wise, human." Together they crossed safely. Eli could not help but admire her abilities. Despite her vulnerability in being stranded, she was extraordinarily capable. She could sense danger, read energy fluctuations, and move with an agility he could barely match. Yet there was a subtle fragility to her, a dependence on connection and trust that reminded him how alone she truly was. Hours passed as they traversed canyons, mapped energy spikes, and took note of unusual mineral formations. Nara shared fragments of her own knowledge, explaining how Illyrians could perceive energy not just visually, but emotionally and physically. She could sense subtle changes in the ground, the air, and even the life around her. Eli found it astonishing, and sometimes unnerving, how in tune she was with everything. Around midday, as the suns reached their peak, a sharp sound interrupted their focus, a low, distant hum that grew steadily louder. Eli froze. "Do you hear that?" he asked aloud. Nara's golden eyes narrowed. Yes, they are coming. Who? Eli whispered, scanning the horizon with his instruments. A faint signature appeared, distant but distinct, mechanical, precise, and alien. Not native predators, he said, frowning. Something or someone is tracking you. My crew, Nara said with tension. They are searching for me. I did not expect them so soon. Eli's mind raced. If her crew found her, it could mean anything: capture, forceful retrieval, or worse. We need to move, fast. I know the terrain. Follow me. They retraced their steps carefully, navigating the canyons and dunes. Nara's abilities helped them anticipate obstacles and avoid dangerous zones. Together, they moved silently, staying just out of sight of the approaching searchers. Eli was amazed at how quickly she adapted to his methods, her instincts complementing his knowledge of the planet. After hours of tense movement, they reached a narrow canyon with walls high enough to block aerial sensors. Eli paused, breathing heavily, and looked at her. This should hide us for now, he said. Yes, she replied, her voice calm but laced with concern. But they will continue searching. I do not know how long we can remain hidden. Eli thought quickly. We need a plan. You said your people are tracking you with advanced technology. We need to find a way to throw them off your trail. Nara nodded. I can obscure my energy signature temporarily, but only for short periods. We must move in intervals, resting when I can mask our presence. They spent the rest of the afternoon mapping a safe path through the canyon system. Eli guided her through the safest routes, teaching her how to navigate by subtle signs in the sand and stone. The trust between them deepened with each step. They relied on each other, not just for survival, but for reassurance in the alien isolation of Vera 9. As night fell, they found a sheltered cavern hidden within the canyon walls. It was small but secure, with smooth rock surfaces and enough space to rest. Eli built a simple fire using his portable energy unit, while Nara observed, fascinated by the human ingenuity. You create warmth with technology, yet rely on instinct to survive, she said. Humans are strange but capable. Eli chuckled. We have to be. On a planet like this, failure is not an option. They ate their evening meal, quiet and contemplative. Eli studied her as she moved gracefully, her skin shimmering under the firelight. He realized that despite her alien form and abilities, she was profoundly human. In one way, she sought connection, understanding, and trust. She was powerful, yet reliant on others in ways her people would rarely admit. Suddenly, a thought pierced Eli's mind. Not Nara's, but something external, an unfamiliar energy signature approaching the canyon. He stiffened. Nara, they are close, he warned. Her golden eyes glowed intensely. Yes, my crew, they will attempt to retrieve me. We cannot allow it. Eli's heart pounded. Then we prepare. We use the canyon to our advantage. I'll lead them into traps and misdirections. You obscure your presence when you can. The night passed in tense vigilance. They heard the distant hum of energy engines, the faint shimmer of scanners in the darkness. Eli realized that while Nara's abilities gave them an advantage, their safety depended equally on his knowledge of terrain, improvisation, and careful planning. Together, they formed a team that neither could manage alone. By morning, exhaustion weighed on both of them, but they had survived. Eli felt a quiet pride. He had faced countless challenges before, yet protecting Nara and navigating the dangers of Vera 9 felt different. It was not just survival, it was responsibility, connection, and courage combined. Over the next few days, Eli and Nara continued their cautious exploration. They discovered caves rich in energy crystals, hidden pools beneath the dunes, and strange plant-like organisms that seemed to thrive despite the harsh conditions. Nara's senses guided them to areas Eli could not have found alone. In turn, Eli taught her practical human techniques: how to detect unstable ground, how to improvise shelters, and how to ration limited supplies. Their bond grew steadily. Nara shared more of her story. She spoke of Illyria, her home planet, a world of crystalline towers and sprawling cities powered by energy beyond human comprehension. She explained her people's abilities, the way they could perceive and manipulate energy, communicate telepathically, and travel vast distances with ease. Yet she confessed a vulnerability. Her kind's intelligence and abilities often isolated them. Despite power and knowledge, loneliness could be profound. "I am grateful for your presence, Eli," she said one evening as they rested in a canyon under the twin moons. "I did not expect to find understanding outside my kind." Eli felt warmth in his chest. "We humans form bonds. Simple maybe, but strong. We survive because of connection, not just skill." She tilted her head, golden eyes glowing softly. "Perhaps that is the human strength I did not see before. Courage, loyalty, empathy. These are qualities my people underestimate." But their respite was not without danger. One morning, while scouting a ridge, Eli detected movement far across the sands. Shadows flickered at impossible speeds. He froze. "Nara, they are here again, closer this time." Her body tensed, golden glow brightening. "Yes, my crew. They are relentless. I cannot face them without you." Eli's heart surged. "Then we make a stand, clever and careful. We use the terrain, the canyons, and your abilities. Together, we can outmaneuver them." The Illyrians approached, scanning the desert with their advanced technology. Eli guided Nara through hidden paths, using misdirection and natural cover. The alien woman's presence masked their energy, and together, they evaded capture. For hours, they moved, hiding, observing, and surviving the relentless pursuit. By nightfall, they reached a hidden cavern deep within the canyon system. Eli collapsed against the rock, exhausted but exhilarated. Nara sat beside him, her golden eyes reflecting relief. "You are remarkable, human. Your courage and ingenuity surpass expectations." Eli shook his head. "I just do what's necessary, but I couldn't have done it without you. Your abilities, they make this possible." They shared a quiet moment, gazing at the stars through the cavern opening. Eli realized that their bond had grown beyond necessity. It was trust, respect, and companionship, two beings from entirely different worlds finding common ground in the harsh, unforgiving desert of Vera 9. As sleep approached, Eli reflected on the events. Survival on this planet was no longer just about avoiding danger. It was about connection, understanding, and courage, qualities that transcended species. He knew more challenges awaited them, but he felt ready, not just because of his skills, but because Nara was by his side. And for the first time since arriving on Vera 9, Eli truly understood that being human was more than endurance. It was the ability to care, trust, and form bonds that could overcome even the most advanced threats. The morning sun rose slowly over the desert of Vera 9, painting the red sands in soft shades of gold and orange. Eli and Nara had spent the night in the hidden cavern, resting after days of careful navigation and near escapes. Yet the peace of dawn was fragile. The distant hum of engines reached their ears, faint at first but growing steadily louder. Eli's stomach twisted. "They found us," he muttered. Nara's golden eyes glimmered, the subtle colors in her skin pulsing with tension. "Yes, my crew is close. They will not give up. They will come for me." Eli's mind raced. He had expected the Illyrians to be persistent, but he had not realized just how fast they could track her. "We need to be smart," he said aloud. "We can't fight them directly, not with what we have, but we can use the canyon system to our advantage." "I can mask my energy for short periods," Nara said, "but not indefinitely. If they close in too quickly, we will need a plan." Eli nodded. "We'll need to split their attention, create traps, and move fast. Follow me." They emerged from the cavern, sticking close to the rock walls. The Illyrians' scanning beams swept across the dunes, searching methodically. Eli studied the shadows and the patterns in the sand, calculating routes that would hide them from view. Nara's abilities amplified his instincts. Together, they moved like a single unit, silent, precise, and invisible. As they progressed through a narrow canyon, Eli paused. "Here," he whispered, pointing. "We can use this choke point. They'll have to funnel through it. We can delay them." Nara's golden glow pulsed with approval. "Good thinking, human, but we must be careful. One wrong step and we could be exposed." They prepared the area. Eli used his portable equipment to rig small diversionary devices, simple sensors that emitted false energy signatures, meant to confuse and mislead the Illyrian scanners. Nara concentrated, sending out subtle energy pulses to further mask their presence. It was delicate work, requiring timing and precision. Hours passed in tense anticipation. Then, in the distance, the first Illyrian ship appeared. Sleek, crystalline, and humming with power, it descended carefully over the dunes, scanning with relentless precision. Eli and Nara held their positions, hearts pounding. The Illyrians advanced cautiously, unaware of the trap awaiting them. Eli whispered instructions to Nara, guiding her to the safest spots. They moved silently, communicating through thoughts and gestures. The Illyrian scanners picked up the diversionary devices, leading some of them astray. The rest advanced, but slowly, allowing Eli and Nara to remain one step ahead. Hours blurred as the pursuit continued. Nara's abilities allowed them to anticipate the Illyrians' movements, but fatigue was setting in. Her energy pulsed irregularly, a subtle sign that she needed rest. Eli noted it, concern knitting his brow. "We can't keep this up forever," he said softly. "We need a more permanent solution." "I know," she replied, "but I cannot leave you behind. I choose to stay with you." Eli felt a surge of emotion. Her words were more than gratitude, they were trust, loyalty, and something deeper. "Then we fight smart together." As the sun reached its zenith, they found a narrow canyon that twisted like a serpent through the dunes. Eli had scouted it earlier. Its walls were high, jagged, and filled with natural cover. "This is our best chance," he said. "We hold them here, force them into the funnel, and then we can negotiate." Nara nodded, her golden eyes steady. "Agreed, but we must remain calm. Anger or fear will reveal us." The Illyrians approached. Their ships hovered over the dunes, scanning and sending signals. Eli and Nara crouched in the shadows, watching. When the first ground units entered the canyon, Eli triggered the diversionary devices. Energy readings flared. Scanners picked up false signatures, and several Illyrians rushed toward the decoys. Nara used her energy manipulation to obscure their true positions further, sending pulses that confused the remaining searchers. The canyon echoed with the low hum of Illyrian engines and the faint crackle of energy pulses. Eli's heart pounded as he watched them maneuver, every move critical. One mistake could mean capture, or worse. Hours passed in tense silence, punctuated by brief bursts of action. Eli and Nara moved carefully, exploiting the terrain, forcing the Illyrians deeper into the canyon. Then, at the perfect moment, Nara revealed herself. She stepped into the open, shimmering gold and red, and communicated directly with the approaching Illyrians. "Stop," she projected, her voice crystal clear in thought. "I choose not to go with you without Eli. He is my companion, my protector. We are together." The Illyrians froze, stunned. Such defiance was rare even among their kind. They exchanged glances, silent but tense. One spoke, formal and sharp. "Nara, you are required to return. Your presence here is unauthorized. Compliance is mandatory." "I am not leaving him," she responded firmly. "I choose to remain. My decision is my own. I will not be taken without my consent." Eli watched in awe. Her courage, her defiance, and her clarity of purpose were astonishing. Yet he knew the Illyrians would not yield easily. They were powerful, highly advanced, and used to absolute obedience. The standoff could turn violent at any moment. Suddenly, an Illyrian advanced toward them, energy weapon raised. Eli stepped forward instinctively, unarmed but determined. "Back off," he shouted. She's not going with you. The Illyrian hesitated, caught off guard by the human's audacity. Nara's energy flared, creating a subtle shield that deflected minor attacks and confusion signals. Together, human and alien, they stood as one, a symbol of trust, unity, and determination. Negotiations continued, tense and silent in the desert heat. Nara communicated directly with her crew, explaining their bond, the dangers they had faced, and Eli's role in helping her survive. She emphasized that trust and choice were not weaknesses but strengths, a lesson her people rarely acknowledged. Hours passed. The Illyrians deliberated, scanning the canyon and observing Eli and Nara. Finally, the lead officer spoke. "Your bond is unprecedented. While we respect it, there will be oversight. You will remain together for a trial period. Beyond that, further decisions will be made." Nara's golden eyes softened. "Agreed. I will remain with him under these conditions. Thank you for acknowledging choice and trust." Eli exhaled, relief washing over him. "We did it," he whispered, almost incredulous. "We survived, and they respected our bond." The Illyrians departed, leaving Eli and Nara alone in the canyon once more. Eli looked at her, awe in his eyes. You really are incredible," he said softly. "And you, human," she replied, "have shown courage, ingenuity, and loyalty beyond expectation. I am fortunate to have you." They sat together as the twin moons rose over the desert. The events of the day weighed on them, but there was a quiet satisfaction in their survival and the recognition of their bond. Eli realized that their connection was more than survival. It was mutual respect, trust, and perhaps something even deeper. Over the next days, they prepared for future exploration, knowing the Illyrians would continue to monitor them. Yet, Eli felt a renewed sense of purpose. The desert no longer felt hostile. It was a place of opportunity, growth, and discovery. With Nara by his side, he felt capable of facing whatever challenges lay ahead. Nara, too, adapted to life alongside a human. She learned not just to survive, but to appreciate the subtleties of human thought, ingenuity, and resilience. She realized that her abilities, while extraordinary, were complemented by human courage, adaptability, and heart. Together, they were stronger than either could have been alone. Their days became a blend of exploration, mapping, and learning. They discovered hidden energy nodes, ancient alien ruins, and strange flora that adapted to the harsh environment. Each discovery reinforced their reliance on each other. Nara's perception and abilities, combined with Eli's resourcefulness and courage, created a partnership that was extraordinary in its balance. As the twin suns set and the desert cooled, Eli and Nara reflected on their journey. "We've come far," Eli said quietly, looking at the glowing horizon. "Yes," Nara replied, "and yet the journey is only beginning. There is much to learn about this planet, about each other, and perhaps about ourselves." Eli nodded. "And we'll face it together. No matter what comes, we have each other's trust." "And that trust is powerful," she said, her golden eyes softening in the moonlight. The desert around them was silent, yet alive. Vera 9 had tested them, challenged them, and nearly separated them. But human ingenuity, courage, and heart, combined with alien perception, intelligence, and loyalty, had forged a bond that could not easily be broken. Eli realized that survival was not just about skill. It was about trust, connection, and the willingness to stand together against any threat. That night, as they lay in the safety of the canyon, the twin moons casting silver light over the sands, Eli knew that the days ahead would bring more challenges. Yet he felt ready, not just because of his skills, but because he had Nara beside him, a companion, a partner, and a friend who had come to mean more than he could express. In the quiet of the desert, human and alien rested, bonded by shared danger, mutual respect, and the extraordinary realization that even across species, trust and choice could forge a connection stronger than any technology or power. The desert of Vera 9 stretched endlessly. Beneath the twin suns, its red sands glowing fiercely as morning broke. Eli and Nara stood at the edge of a high dune, surveying the terrain. Weeks of exploration, danger, and shared challenges had brought them closer than either had imagined possible. The Illyrians were still monitoring from afar, but for now, the immediate threat had passed. Eli adjusted his pack and turned to Nara. "We've done more than survive," he said quietly. "We've learned this planet, its dangers, and each other, and we've proven that even two beings from completely different worlds can work together." Nara's golden eyes shimmered with emotion. "Yes, Eli, I did not expect this connection. I did not expect to find understanding outside my kind, let alone loyalty and courage such as yours. I value it more than I can express." Eli smiled, feeling warmth in his chest. "You know, humans aren't supposed to be special in the universe, but sometimes survival isn't just about strength or skill, it's about trust, about care. And we've both learned that, haven't we?" She tilted her head, a thoughtful shimmer moving across her skin. "Yes. Trust is extraordinary. Perhaps it is what humans have mastered over millennia, something my people often overlook in pursuit of knowledge and power." They began their day's exploration. Eli had planned a route toward an ancient canyon system, marked by energy readings that hinted at a unique phenomenon. Nara moved beside him, her senses attuned to the environment, her golden eyes scanning every ridge, dune, and crevice. They communicated silently through thought, each anticipating the other's actions, moving as one. Hours into the trek, Eli spotted something unusual. A faint shimmer, almost like heat waves, flickered over the sand. He motioned for Nara to stop. "Do you see that?" he thought. "Yes," she replied. "It is not natural, perhaps a remnant of the energy anomalies we detected before. We should investigate cautiously." They approached the area carefully, the sand beneath their feet shifting in soft waves. Eli activated his portable scanner, which picked up a faint but unusual energy signature. The readings spiked as they drew closer. Nara's glow pulsed gently, indicating her own recognition of the anomaly. "This energy, it is ancient," she said, awe in her thoughts. "Older than any civilization I have encountered. It is strong yet stable." Eli nodded, fascinated. It could be a natural energy node, or a relic of a previous civilization. Either way, it's significant. As they explored the site, Nara stepped forward, her hands brushing across the shimmering ground. Eli noticed the way she moved, deliberate, respectful, and careful. She was not just studying, she was interacting with the energy, sensing its patterns and flow. Suddenly, the ground trembled. Eli instinctively pulled her back. "What now?" he shouted, scanning the horizon. The anomaly pulsed violently, and a sudden surge of energy erupted, throwing sand and dust into the air. Nara's eyes glowed brighter as she extended her hands toward the energy. "It is reacting to us, to our presence. Not hostile, but aware." Eli's mind raced. "Aware? You mean it senses us? Can it harm us?" "I do not believe so," she replied. "But it communicates in a form beyond words. It responds to intent and courage." Eli felt a thrill of wonder. This was unlike anything he had encountered in his years of exploration. "Then we need to be careful, but we need to understand it." For hours they observed and interacted with the energy. Nara guided Eli, teaching him how to focus, sense the flow, and respond with intention rather than fear. Slowly, they discovered a harmony, a rhythm in the pulses that resonated with their presence. The energy was ancient, perhaps a remnant of a civilization long gone, yet it responded to trust and cooperation. As evening approached, the desert settled into a quiet glow under the twin moons. Eli and Nara sat beside the energy node, exhausted but exhilarated. "We did it," he whispered. "We connected with it together." "Yes," Nara replied, "and we did not rely solely on strength. We relied on trust, courage, and understanding. That is human wisdom, and I am grateful to experience it." Their conversation was interrupted by a distant hum, a familiar vibration that signaled the approach of the Illyrians. Eli's chest tightened. "They're here," he said. Nara's golden eyes reflected calm determination. "Yes, but we are ready. They will see that our bond is not to be broken, that I choose him." The Illyrians arrived, scanning the terrain with their crystalline ships and ground units. But this time, Eli and Nara were prepared. Using the energy node as a focal point, Nara amplified her abilities, creating a subtle but powerful shield around them. Eli activated his own devices, sending false signals and diversions across the dunes. When the Illyrians approached, Nara projected her thoughts directly to them. "I choose to remain with Eli, not out of defiance but out of choice. This is my will, respect it." The lead Illyrian paused, considering her words. The others followed silently. Finally, the officer spoke. "Your bond and your courage is unprecedented. We acknowledge your decision. You may remain together under supervision until further notice." Nara exhaled, relief mingling with triumph. "Thank you. Your recognition of choice is valued." Eli felt a surge of pride and relief. "We did it," he whispered. "We stood together and they respected it." With the Illyrians gone, the desert returned to its quiet rhythm. Eli and Nara stood beside the energy node, feeling the connection they had forged, not just with each other but with the planet itself. The node pulsed gently, responding to their presence, a symbol of harmony, trust, and understanding. Over the following weeks, Eli and Nara continued their exploration. They mapped new areas, documented energy anomalies, and uncovered remnants of ancient civilizations. Each discovery reinforced the bond between human and alien. They learned from each other, combining human ingenuity with Illyrian perception and abilities. Nara revealed more of her culture. She spoke of Illyrian society, its strengths and limitations. She admitted that her people often prioritized knowledge and power over empathy and trust. "I have learned more from you, Eli," she said one evening, "than I have in all my years among my kind. Your courage, loyalty, and understanding, these are qualities my people often overlook." Eli smiled. "Humans survive because we care about each other. It's simple, but it works. Courage isn't just about fighting, it's about trust, empathy, and doing what's right." Nara's golden eyes glimmered softly. "I see that now, and I am grateful for your guidance, for your companionship. I am fortunate." The final days on Vera 9 were filled with exploration and preparation. Eli and Nara built a small base near the energy node, using their combined skills to create a safe, sustainable environment. They monitored the desert, studied the energy flows, and documented everything for future research. One evening, under the twin moons, Eli turned to Nara. "You know, I never imagined this mission would lead to this. I thought I'd be alone, facing the desert and its dangers, but with you, it's been extraordinary." "It has," Nara replied, "and I never imagined finding a bond such as this outside my kind. You have shown me courage, trust, and loyalty, and I choose to remain by your side." Eli felt a surge of warmth and pride. "Then we continue together. Whatever comes, we face it as a team." Human and Illyrian, learning from each other, surviving together, and exploring the universe side by side. They sat in silence, watching the desert shift under the moon's light. The energy node pulsed gently beside them, a reminder of the ancient world beneath the sands and the harmony they had discovered. For Eli, it was more than survival. It was a lesson in connection, trust, and the extraordinary power of unity across species. Nara reached out, her hand brushing his. "The universe is vast, Eli. There is so much to discover, but with you I am ready." Eli smiled, grasping her hand. "And I with you. Together we're stronger than any challenge, smarter than any puzzle, braver than any danger. This desert, this planet, it's ours to explore, and we'll do it together." As the twin moons rose higher, casting silver light across the dunes, human and alien sat side by side, bonded by trust, courage, and choice. They had faced danger, defied expectations, and forged a connection that transcended species. Vera 9, once a hostile and isolating world, had become a place of discovery, growth, and extraordinary companionship. In the end, Eli realized that being human was not just about survival or skill. It was about empathy, loyalty, and trust, the ability to form bonds that could withstand even the harshest environments. And Nara understood that even the most advanced beings could learn from the simplicity and strength of the human heart. Together, they looked out across the desert, the winds whispering softly, the twin moons reflecting off the red sands, and the energy node pulsing in quiet rhythm. Their journey was far from over. There were new mysteries to uncover, new dangers to face, and new horizons to explore. But for now, they were together, human and alien, bound by choice, trust, and an extraordinary friendship that would guide them through whatever the universe had in store. And as they rose to continue their exploration, the desert seemed less lonely, the suns less harsh, and the world more alive than ever before. Side by side, they stepped forward, ready for the next adventure, knowing that together, nothing could break their bond, and nothing could stop them from discovering the secrets of Vera 9 and beyond.